All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division talking about Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney, and one of the greatest exhibitions of boxing bullishery that I have seen in a long time. Not about what's going on in the ring, but what's going outside the ring between the two of these guys. 100%, how can I say, in the words of you young people, capness going on, capnicity, capness, Captain Kirk, whatever it is, a bunch of media back and forth that is being exposed in this conversation taking place between Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, talking about two of the best fighters that there are in the world of boxing, period. Both of these guys deserve to be on a pound-for-pound list, in my opinion. You have Devin "The Dream" Haney, who is the undisputed champion at 135 pounds, and you have Gervonta Tank Davis, who is the former three-time champion at 130 at super featherweight, 130 pounds, and a secondary title holder at 135 pounds and 140 pounds. And by the way, to boot, the cash cow of boxing below the weight of 147 pounds. All right, but before I get into the subject matter of this, which in my opinion is both very, very comedic and very, very sad at the same time, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you for continuing to watch the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. All right, so let's get into this, man. We are in the midst, very much on the undercurrent of boxing conversation right now. And in the upper current, if that's the right word, is the conversation taking place about a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr., a three sanctioned and body champion. Terrence Crawford, the pound for pound best fighter in the world, in my opinion. Most of the boxing world is really focused on that fight. But over the last week, there's been this conversation going on at the lightweight division between the undisputed champion Devin Haney's camp and Gervonta Davis, the cash cow of the division, his camp, about the two of these guys fighting. And today, I think it is safe to say that it came to an absolutely, a crescendo of ridiculousness. And let me explain what I mean by that. Devin Haney, being an exceptional fighter, owning all the championship belts, it seems is having a hard time shifting between being somebody that is pursuing all the champions and wanting to get a championship shot and saying, hey, man, this guy's ducking me, this guy's ducking me, that guy's ducking me. And now a guy that is actually being pursued by other fighters in that division, specifically Gervonta Tank Davis. This conversation that is going on between the two of them, in my opinion, illustrates just that. The fact that Devin Haney is used to being somebody that is chasing and looking to get fights made and looking to get specifically a fight against guys like Lomachenko, fights against guys like George Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez, and Gervonta Davis, to being in a situation now where he is getting what he asked for, but in my opinion, and what it looks like, is not handling getting what he asked for in the most, the most judicious fashion. And let me explain. Gervonta Tank Davis has called out Devin Haney and has told Devin Haney, I want to fight you next. Been very, very clear with it. Before the fight with that took place between he and Rolly Romero, Gervonta Davis was very clear. He said, Devin Haney, if you beat George Kambosos, I want to fight you next. After that fight took place where Devin Haney beat George Kambosos, on the Rise podcast, Gervonta Davis's team met with Bill Haney, the manager, the manager of Devin Haney, and was very clear. We want to fight you next. And said, look, we know how you can go about fighting us next. All you have to do is pay off George Kambosos, whatever amount of money it is that you need to pay him for that fight, and have him step aside. And when you are available, we will fight you next. He certified that this is a Calvin Ford, that Gervonta Davis is still a free agent and is able to make that fight specifically with Devin Haney, and wants to make that fight with Devin Haney. However, Devin Haney is not in the position to make that fight. He's not in the position to make that fight because he has already a rematch clause in place with George Kambosos. And George Kambosos exercised that rematch clause. On top of that, Top Rank, through the company that Bob Arum owns and manages, has another option on Devin Haney to make a fight if he moves up to 140 pounds or for some reason doesn't take the rematch with George Kambosos. So either way that goes, Devin Haney is tied into a fight with somebody at Top Rank, most likely George Kambosos. And that is something that everybody that is a party to this understands. However, for some reason, Devin Haney's camp continues to act like they are available to fight Gervonta Davis, and that Gervonta Davis is avoiding him in some type of fashion, when it is very, very clear that Gervonta Davis said he would fight him. All you need to do is make sure you can get out of the fight that you already have scheduled with George Kambosos. So today, Devin Haney releases a very, very obscure text which says October Kings Peace, right? I think that's what you mean with the hands, prayers up, thankfulness, whatever the case is, symbolizing that he is going to be fighting somebody on October 4th. Who is it that he would be fighting on October 4th? Obviously, that is George Kambosos that he would be fighting in October. It cannot possibly be Gervonta Tank Davis that he's referring to, because he has not entered into an official negotiation with Gervonta Davis. Right now, we are sitting at on July 3rd. You have July, August, September, October, right? July, August, September, October. You have 4 months left before that fight, before that October timeframe happens. And none of the conversations have taken place with Gervonta Davis as to how you would set up that fight. The idea that Devin Haney could possibly be talking about Gervonta Davis for an October fight is highly, highly unrealistic because of the amount of time it would take to make this fight. The truth of the matter is that Devin Haney is going to fight George Kambosos. That is what's going to happen. However, Devin Haney and their camp is used to being in a situation where they are used to being the person that is pursuing and not the person that is being pursued. Now that Gervonta Davis is actually pursuing Devin Haney, they are trying to, in my opinion, have their cake and eat it too. Claim that Gervonta Davis is ducking, while at the same time, they know full well that they've got another fight that has already been negotiated for a rematch with George Kambosos. And that is what is going to happen. I will bet $100 to a donut that is what the case is. The best route for Devin Haney to take is to just to say, I'm not available to fight Gervonta Davis right now. Do a Canelo Alvarez and say, I'm busy. But the problem with that is that once he says that, he can no longer and nobody else can claim that Gervonta Davis is ducking him. But there's nothing wrong with that because because Devin Haney is the undisputed champion and people should be pursuing him. They should get in line to fight him because he has all of the belts. It's just, in my opinion, a bit of a miscalculation to try to do two things at the same time. To act as if Gervonta Davis is actively ducking Devin Haney, and that if this fight does not happen between Gervonta and Devin Haney, somehow it's going to be Gervonta Davis's fault that Devin Haney fought somebody that he already has a contracted deal to fight with, is just bordering on patently dishonest. And I'm going to tell you, man, I'm laughing at the entire situation. I don't understand why cats can't just be straight up about what's going on. Devin Haney is the undisputed champion. He has a previous engagement with George Kambosos. They do not have the money to negotiate their way out of a rematch with George Kambosos and negotiate themselves out of a contract with another contract with Bob Arum in order to make the Gervonta Davis fight. They're just going to have to wait until they get all the way through that and hope that Gervonta Davis is still available to make that major fight. It's not a bad look on Devin for not making the fight. It's not a bad look on Gervonta Davis for not making that fight, but it is a bad look if you try to concoct a story by which you know full well you can't fight this guy, but at the same time, act like it's his fault for not making the fight. And that's what I see going on with Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis. Hopefully, when we know, and I'm telling you ahead of time, Devin Haney is going to fight George Kambosos, and there is absolutely nothing that Gervonta Davis can do about it or Devin Haney is going to do about it to the extent that he is willing to lose gigantic amounts of money trying to get out of it. He's locked into that contract. All of the other talk about fighting Gervonta Davis right now is nothing but talk. Gervonta Davis, for his part, said, I want to fight you. So if he's making himself available to fight, keeping himself as a free agent available to fight, then, and Devin Haney does not do that, then it is what it is. But it ain't on Gervonta Davis. It's on Devin Haney. And I just think that, hey, man, certain points in time, man, you just got to fess up with what the situation is. You're not available to fight. Just like when Errol Spence Jr. told Terrence Crawford, look, man, I've got 3 other fights that I can handle. And when I handle these 3 fights, then I'm going to come to you. It's not difficult for Devin Haney to say the same thing. After I get out of George Kambosos and I get past George Kambosos, I get past whatever the fight is that I have to fight for Bob Arum, then I will get Gervonta Davis and I'll beat you. And that is a very, very reasonable stance to take. And it is a stance that he should take instead of having people around him act as if try to have their cake and eat it too, where they're really trying to make the Gervonta Davis fight. That's what they really want. They're doing everything they can to do it. And Gervonta Davis is the reason that it fell through. No, the fight is not realistic to be made because you already have contractual obligations. That is completely reasonable. That's what you had to do to get the belt. And if Gervonta Davis is there when you get done with that, then boom, let Gervonta prove that he's willing to fight you. Because it seems to me Gervonta Davis is real serious about it. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.